All right, here we are. We are on this new episode of Whatever Happened to the Game. But this time we're going to look into the future a bit. And I got this idea from coming across an episode of David Stewart or David V. Stewart. He fantasy author. He writes his thoughts about sci-fi and video games on YouTube. So I'll put a link to his channel in the description. But I thought, hey, since the Nintendo Switch, whatever comes after the Nintendo Switch isn't out now, but I just well make something about my speculation and other speculations about it before it officially gets released. So then we can come back to it and see how well it aged. So today's episode is whatever will happen after the Nintendo Switch. And coming with us from Illinois is Albelio. Welcome.
Hello. How you doing, buddy?
Great. So we both are in there with the Nintendo to a degree. I personally got a Nintendo Switch recently, so I'm probably a little late to the party on getting a Nintendo Switch. And you can see the previous episode of this podcast, Whatever Happened to Halo, and we're going to be continuing that with later Halo. But I just thought, hey, take a look at the Switch before it actually gets released for the next generation. So, all right. I clicked that a little early. So, Nintendo DS. So, I remember that. Apparently, it's one of the most highest selling consoles ever, and only the PlayStation 2 exceeds this console. 154.02 million. So, yeah, I got that off. I didn't say a million. A lot of Nintendo consoles sold over 100 million, with a few disappointments that they considered flops. But the Nintendo DS by far was not one of them. So far, I've got a Nintendo DS, and which I got. It was old, but it still works great. The games, it plays both Nintendo DS and Game Boy Advance games on the same thing. But it's a great gimmick. Because it connects to the internet, so you can multiplayer by every person having their own Nintendo DS. Which I think is a great way. It's also a precursor to what would happen with the Switch eventually. Anything else you liked about the DS? Or
I did like very few games, only because I only got to play a few games. Like Portrait of Ruin, for example.
Yeah, that was the first multiplayer Castlevania one, which you could multiplayer over the Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. That and the Mario Kart DS as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. I just never really got into the DS. Not that I didn't want to. Metroid Prime Hunters was the other one I really wanted, but same thing, just never really got around to it. Got too busy with things.
Yeah, I was quite busy myself, which is why I was actually at the time, I was mainly playing it off, but when I had my own house, my own family, I got the DS because my kids could play it, I could play it. Mm-hmm. So I got they had Pokemon Game Boy Color games on sale, so I got those for the DS, and I also got Mario 64 DS, Mario Kart DS, and all three Nintendo DS Castlevania games for that.
Nice.
Yes. But it's a great gimmick that you can connect to the internet, and every person, because hypothetically you would sell multiple DSs for each house, just so people could do multiplayer with all the DS units. Mm-hmm. So that's one way I can see it being the highest selling, the second highest behind the PlayStation 2, is just because the gimmick is you have to get multiple DSs to play multiplayer online.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for the Castlevania collections, I basically wouldn't have have any actual reason to care at all for the Switch at this point. And so to see that they're bringing the DS games in that collection, or have brought, I should say, like,
Yeah.
It makes me so happy.
Yeah, that and I've actually gone to the Nintendo Switch store, and I'll show it at the end, the new games that are coming to the Switch store. But
Mhm.
I basically tried Perfect Dark on the Nintendo Switch, and it's great. It, it's
Well, that's
it's
good to
it,
hear.
yeah, it's the two joystick system for the Switch. It's basically kind of similar to how you played Halo for playing Perfect Dark.
Mhm.
So it's great because when I'm playing Perfect Dark, I can easily aim with one thumb and move with the other, which makes it great for just running by people and firing while I run.
Well, that's good because, man, trying to having the analog stick and then having 4 directional buttons with the C buttons,
Yeah, no, it was a
it was
pain.
difficult.
It was a pain, but that's also why I wish they eventually, if they don't have copyright issues for Nintendo, they put the Army Men 3D or Battle Tanks on the Switch store eventually.
Mhm.
Now here's the Nintendo Wii. Nintendo Wii was great too. It was codenamed Revolution before they released it on November 2006. And hi, Shadow Master, how are you
Hey,
doing?
Shadow, how you doing, buddy?
So Nintendo Wii was, I mean, I enjoy it. Um, Even though it was technically my wife's that I inherited, I got Twilight Princess and a number of other GameCube games for the Wii, and they still work, still play
Mhm.
now.
I never actually got all the hatred for the Wii. Like, this is something I always vehemently disagreed with, like,
Well,
Yahtzee.
I got sucked into the Wiimote gimmick from the start. I mean, I wanted to play a game where I swing the remote control for the sword in a Legend of Zelda game, and I got that with the Twilight Princess.
Yeah, yeah, and I thought it was fine. Like, I get that it's a pain to get used to, but my goodness, the control scheme, like, I have the Prime Trilogy collection on the Wii,
Oh,
and
Metroid, man.
those controls are absolutely peak for Metroid, and
I
I
can
will
imagine.
never understand why people are like,
Isn't
"Oh, the Wii motion sucks."
I only have the GameCube for a Metroid Prime, but don't you use the nunchuck and Wiimote for the Metroid games that way?
Correct. Yeah, they took Prime 3's control scheme and applied it to 1 and 2, and it actually it made the game, like, super easy because the game had such limited control options, and now
Right.
it's actually a breeze. Like, it's actually a negative because it's a positive. It's kinda goofy.
That and you just take the Wiimote and turn it sideways for a lot of games too. I turn it sideways to play Super Smash Brothers Brawl on the Wii, and
Mm,
as well as the retro game store, which is sadly lost, and I hope the Switch store does not get lost. We'll talk more about that later.
mhm.
Where it'd be great because there's a reason why Steam is still around, and it has outlasted two of my PCs at home because Steam keeps going and it saves your games for years,
Mhm.
more or less. So Nintendo Wii. Now we're going to go to the part where Nintendo was really disappointed. So yeah, it was released on November 18th, 2012, and you can obviously see how it inspired the later Switch controller right here with the
Mhm.
display screen and the controls. But you could also use the older Wii control for it if you wanted to. You can also use the Wiimote or nunchuck for it. But it's essentially a tablet controller, but you can see where it goes into the Switch.
You know, the Wii U was another one of those systems where I was like, "This is fine." Like, I yeah, they have the tablet gimmick, but the tablet was fine.
Well, the tablet was also technically in the DS. You have the lower screen display
Exactly.
plus the main screen display, and I have a hard time showing live streaming it when you figured out how to live stream with the display for Nintendo DS games, haven't you? I The aspect
Outside of,
ratio, the aspect ratio
oh,
is weird, but I have older live streams where I did Order of Ecclesia, and I had to like set up my own display for that. It's kind of weird because it's when you're trying to live stream it, you have to use both the lower display and the upper main display in the same one. So I had to Photoshop the backgrounds to fix that aspect ratio. Yeah, I actually I got to try out the demo for the Wii U for Human Revolution, and they had another Super Smash Brothers on Wii U. Shadow. They were pretty interesting. It was an unfortunate day at Nintendo, as you can see here.
Splatoon was such a fun little game. I actually ran a tournament of it. It was interesting.
Yeah,
I thought it was so much more interesting than a lot of the games nowadays,
So
especially Call of Duty.
What's Splatoon exactly?
So it's like a Nintendo version of paintball. Like you're a bunch of inklings that can look like that look like humans.
So you're
And you
fighting
spray.
paintball.
It's sort of actually. Hold on. It's more like it's like a PvP version of Mario Sunshine. I think that's the better way to put it.
Mario
So
Nintendo
so
did do a paintball game, but that was as I read, they actually did a paintball game way back in for NES in the late '80s called Gotcha, and it's paintballing. You try to get the other person's flag.
Oh, gotcha.
You
Gotcha.
have to shoot paintballs at them first before they get you.
Yeah, no. So the Mario Sunshine comparison I think is better. So you're basically running around with your equivalent of the water gun on your back.
Yeah.
And you're spraying paint everywhere, and or ink. You're trying to spray ink all over the place, and you can dive into the ink like in squid form, and then swim around and pop up out of it. And you're basically spraying things around like the paint from Mario Sunshine.
Right.
And it's just a PvP game where you knock each other out and everything.
So you get sprayed blue or red or something.
Yeah, blue, red, purple, yellow. There were all kinds of colors. There were like Splatoon actually has like an amateur PvP scene. It's kind of goofy.
That sounds good. It's a shame because somehow it only sold 13.56 million consoles, and that's a letdown compared to how the Wii sold over 101.63 million. Nintendo DS sold 154.02 million. Also, the Nintendo GameCube and 64 also sold over 100 million each. So it was a big letdown for Nintendo, unfortunately.
It also wasn't all that different from the Wii. It basically had the same hardware, and I think a lot of people were hoping that it would come back with the mature games like the Switch did, but it never did.
Yeah, it didn't quite get to that point. So I can't believe this. Well, being a recent purchaser of a Switch, I can't believe it's been 7 years since they released the Switch.
Yeah, how are those gray hairs growing?
I have some on the side of my head for a long time. 7 years. But I don't regret it because the Switch store has plenty of older games and it's been growing, as I'll show some of the newer ones they released at the end of this. But yes, it's the great thing is that the Switch has the online store. The Switch has the online store, and it has so many retro games. How many retro games have you tried on the Switch store so far?
Not too many because I have the retro games that I want. So,
right.
Like I haven't like my Switch has collected more dust than it has data at this point.
Oh my, mine's
Like
got I can't preserve mine because I've got my fingerprints all over it.
Oh yeah, no, this thing, I my lady, my queen got me she got me Mega Man, what is it, 11, I think? Yeah, I think it's 11. And a while ago, I got Metroid Dread, and those are basically the only two games I've actually sat down and played through. Well, that's not true. There are a bunch of other games that are older, like Hyrule Warriors, the Age of Calamity, which I hoard out for some reason, and a couple other here and there, and I just can't bring myself to complete Tears of the Kingdom because I just it's so terrible. This is like this thing is basically just collected dust, and I don't see why people. I do see why people want the Switch 2 because they're dying for something different.
Yeah, I mean they are. I mean I've got obviously got the Light Switch Lite, which is only portable. I've got the regular Switch, which is both TV hookup and portable. It's a hybrid console. But so far, I mean, the main thing I've been doing is playing the older games because they have N64 and just it even has Sega Genesis. And I hope that if the Switch store continues, that they go into getting Sega Dreamcast if they can. Because I've been playing Sonic Bloodlines on the Sega, on the Sega Genesis emulation for the Switch store, and the other ones are playing Perfect Dark using the two joysticks because, as I said before, it's easier than with the Nintendo 64 using the Switch controls to play that game. So I've been sucked into it for the new kind of experience that the Switch controller offers me compared to the N64 for some of these, and I hope that games like Battle Tanks, where the two joystick configuration would help a lot when you're driving a tank.
Would be nice.
Yeah, it would be.
Also, real quick, congrats on 900 subs, by the way. Happened to catch that a little bit ago.
Yeah, I've been trying to get this set up and work on another video, but yeah, I did reach 900 recently, and that's true.
You're almost there.
Thank you. Almost
there.
Almost there. Thanks. So yeah, so if there isn't much more, we're going to talk about what we expect because there was a leak in Indie 100 magazine, and I shared this with you earlier this week. So this Indie 100 got a leak from someone close to Nintendo that the Switch 2, in quotation marks, because I'm not sure if it's a code name like they did for Revolution for Nintendo Wii or Box for GameCube, is what's going out. And they said it would be Pokemon Legends would be the first game. And I have the link right here to the magazine article if everyone else wants to read it too. And again, Switch 2, the name could be a code name. Yeah, Shadow Master, I would like to have Nintendo DS games on the Switch store. And that's why, like I said before, I hope Nintendo takes notes from how Steam is successful and just says, okay, we'll keep our Nintendo Switch store compatible with later consoles because it works.
The one thing, and I do wish that Nintendo would make the adjustment, but I don't think they will. And this could just be that I don't know entirely, but they have not, like, I know they have like a Nintendo account, and when you purchase a game, it goes to that account and everything. But I'm pretty sure Nintendo still uses the same sort of rental license agreement as Steam does. Is that true? Do you know that?
Yes, they still have the same agreement in terms of what's in your library that Steam does.
I wish they had gone through and when something was purchased online, like or not online, but through their official account on the website or something, that it went to your Nintendo account and you owned the game digitally instead of rented it out. If they had done that and continued this online from the Wii to the Wii U and through the Switch, they would be dominating right now because then people would be getting newer tech with more space, still having all of the retro games without having to purchase them again, and they would have an incredibly their fan base wants this.
That was a big shortcoming with Nintendo Wii is that if you got games on the Nintendo Wii store for the first Nintendo Wii and for the Wii U.
Uh-huh.
Once that went to the Switch, you lost those games. You had
Yeah,
to
exactly.
get them all over again. And that's what I
Yeah.
hope is that I hope that like Steam, they just keep the same store going from console to console. And that
Yeah.
they have some, and if they want to, are worried about losing that because people don't buy new games, they could have some games that are cartridge or Nintendo exclusive.
Exactly. Like just make it a cumulative bank, but give digital access and ownership to those who purchase it instead of trying to go through. And hell, even if you didn't want to go through the complexity of trying to like ensure, hey, do you have this serial number on the back of your physical cartridge kind of thing, right?
Right.
I would have liked to see them do something like that, but I know they're not going to. It's just it's so frustrating because they could have easily they could have smashed Steam with this, especially after the big reveal that
Steam kicks
Steam
some
doesn't
people off.
yeah, Steam doesn't let you actually own any of your games.
Right.
Not that that hasn't been known for a while by most gamers, but
Right.
it's like it's a big blow for a lot of people because they're like, wait, I don't own this. It's like, yes, duh.
Right.
Physical
That's
media
why I like
matters.
that's why I like GOG because I can back up the games, the installer files, and
Mhm.
those work on an external. You can take them off an external hard drive and install them for GOG, anyways.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the thing is, I hope they just don't let the store go out the way it did with the Wii U. Yes, Shadow, exactly. And yes, I don't remember exactly what the code name was for Switch when it was in development, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it had a code name. Actually, want to look that up, Alvelio? Let's see if there's a code name for Switch.
For the first Switch, correct?
Right. The
Okay,
Switch had a
yeah, I'll look
code
it up.
name before release. Thank you. And yeah, Shadow, I'm hoping they have DS and 3DS games on the Switch store. And I hope they continue the Switch store into the Switch 2, for that matter.
NX.
And NX, okay. Okay. That's interesting. So yeah, you're right. You're right, Shadow. It's NX, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that was what it was.
NX. So as I said before, I really hope that the shop goes on, and like
God, 2015. Jesus, this thing's almost 10 years old.
yeah, it is. They've kept the same one, but the crazy thing is that I haven't actually put this in the slides, but the Nintendo Switch has outsold both the newest Xbox and newest PlayStation at the same time.
Oh yeah. That's because of all of the things Nintendo did, Nintendo made the right choice when they decided not to compete in unnecessary technology and stayed focused on making games.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, the hybrid, which is, if it's not the Switch Lite, the hybrid idea is great. I mean, the red and blue Switch I've got, I can plug it into my TV, play it off there, or play it on the go.
Mm-hmm.
It works. And I mean, I could do it technically, but for Xbox, you have to pay for a cloud subscription, which is ridiculous because think about it, $15 a month, and add that up for 12 months. You might as well have been buying those Xbox games that whole year if you add it up. And it isn't even
Oh,
all the
dude,
Xbox.
I played WoW for way longer than I ever should have. I know, I know that cost.
But I'm just saying, it's more cost effective if you actually bought the games for Xbox or
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation. Yeah, but I do think the hybrid idea works, but my bias here and really bleeds into this is that I recently got the Nintendo Switch now, and allegedly they're going to change it out next year. But I'll still love it. But I was a little late to the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope
Yeah.
that I hope that they take advantage of the new controller system and get, if, as long as there's no copyright issues, get Sega Dreamcast and get more of the N64 games that the controllers were terrible for the N64, using the better Switch controller configuration.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm telling you, if you ever go to the Switch store and get Perfect Dark on the Switch, it's better with the dual joystick controls.
I'll have to drift. I'll definitely have to try it. I also need the time to try it because
Yeah, well, I'll be taking time off near the end because it's December and holidays. But before we talk about Vampire Hunter D, which they've talked about, that's the movie my audience wants to get reviewed.
ooh, absolutely. Love Vampire Hunter D.
So what are your
I've never read the manga or anything, but I love those movies.
Oh yeah, they have the manga. I keep saying comics for them because I think of them that way. But yeah, it's manga for Vampire Hunter D on Amazon right now.
Mm-hmm.
But what are some what you expect from the quote unquote Switch 2?
I'm what I imagine Nintendo is gonna do is they're gonna try to improve the performance in such a minimal way that it's hardly gonna make much. It's hardly gonna feel any different. I think they're gonna try to use it as a way to make a tad bit more money because I feel like it's not performing as well as it could.
Hmm.
That's just me because we're comparing it to modern day numbers. We're not looking at like Wii and PS2 numbers, but I don't know the numbers. I could just be completely wrong
Right.
here.
I mean, it's normal for a Nintendo console in the late 90s and early 2000s to sell over 100 million for that console.
Yeah, yeah. And in terms of games, what I think they're gonna try to do is, well, at least from what I've done research wise, I think they're gonna try to do a ton of remasters to launch the system, which
Right.
will which will delay the release of the actual games that they're
So
hoping to release later in the year.
right. Do you think there's going to be overlap? Because there was some overlaps with the Wii and the GameCube. But as I found out that they had Twilight Princess on both the GameCube and the Wii. Although I greatly prefer, the reason why I got the game Twilight Princess is for the Wii version. But I do feel there's some games are going to overlap. Like
I would imagine there's going to be cross gen. How could there not be?
I'm just trying to think what there could
Prime
be.
4, I think, is supposed to be cross gen.
So it's going to be both Switch and Switch 2, maybe.
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm suspecting there's going to be at least 2 Mario games that will be cross-gen.
Mhm.
At least 2 Marios, because there's the Mario, side-scrolling. They're not necessarily side-scrolling, but the Mario games where you're playing as Mario Luigi, and you have the other Mario Kart game. And I'll see how well this ages, but I'm willing to bet there's going to be at least one Mario Adventure game and one Mario Kart game that will be crossed over between Switch and Switch 2.
Would be interesting. As for everything else, I just don't know.
I mean,
There's so
other games you hope that end up on the Switch store? Because I'm hoping that 3DO games, that there's no copyright, the 3DO games that were on Nintendo make it.
Well, first off, I hope they share the same store. That's the first thing.
I
would hate to have to pay, 15 or 5 or whatever. I think it's 5 like per month in order to get access to it. It's like I hope they don't do that.
Right.
And then I
hope it stays. I mean, I hope it's the same store for Switch 2 as it is for Switch.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah,
a major loss. The Wii and DS once shut down.
Yeah, I hope they see the light on that suggestion I made earlier of like just having the same setup, the same library that people can just own things from. And then I don't know, like the only thing I'm hoping for is that 3D collection of Castlevania comes out at this point.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Because like they've already gone through and dropped like all of the others. It's like I also think that they're going to do something else Castlevania related. I don't think it relates to Nocturne. I think there might be a Castlevania game in the works in the next couple
There's no
years.
coincidence. There's no coincidence that they timed the remaster release with the original series, and not long after the season 1 of Nocturne, they had the Dominus collection and the Advanced collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wonder. So I would like if they re-released Castlevania 64, or at least they had it in the Switch store, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'll see because my when I showed the new games in the Switch store, which will be coming up a little after this, I was only doing it as of last Saturday when I was doing the slides, so it could be changed. I could just check out the Switch store and see what's new. But these are the newest games that enter the Switch store. F-Zero. I haven't played the F-Zero, funny enough. Maybe I should. That's where Captain Falcon comes from. Captain Falcon from Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Blast Core, that must be an earlier Nintendo 64.
Oh, no kidding. Legends.
Yeah. It's there.
I'm glad to see Metroid 2 as well.
Game, Metroid 2, Dr. Mario, Jet Force Gemini. Yeah. Alone in the Dark. I think it's related to a PC or Xbox game, Alone in the Dark, maybe.
Correct. And a really, really terrible UA Bowl film.
Alone in the Dark. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Who? Christian Slater.
Okay. Yeah, now I remember.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was rough.
Mario 64. I think I played part of Jet Force Gemini, and it was the third person where you're a dog, a guy, a man or a woman. You're fighting ants. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna go look at I'm gonna put the Switch store on the stream so we can take a look at what they have there.
Yeah, sure.
That should be pretty fun.
And yeah, shout out poor Xbox and PlayStation, because it's definitely something that drives me insane is the constant run towards irrelevance. It's like, hey, look, we made more and more advanced technologies. Our games look more and more realistic. Congrats. Now where's the game?
Yeah. And they don't even okay, so here it is. It hasn't changed too much. F-Zero Racing.
Okay.
It's like these are this is alphabetical order, so I didn't do it. I didn't present it in the order of release.
Sure, that's fine.
How about, what do you want to look at? Let's try. Let's see, Nintendo. What new NES games do they have? Game Boy, Nintendo 60. How about Game Boy Advance? Let's see what's new for that one.
Sure.
Desis 2, no Starfire. Desis 2, no Starfire 2. I don't know.
It's also interesting how many of the Japanese exclusive games that get released. That was always something that kind of confused me, because it's like I can't read Japanese, so it's like why release it international without a translation?
Right. That's why I was happy when they did Final Fantasy 5 and 6 finally. When they skipped that in the past. Well, they called 6 3. Mario Brothers. Mario Advance. Mario Brothers. Okay. That's confusing. Mario Advance 4.
Oh yeah. It's just an updated version of Mario 3, but it's on the Advance, and it was also like the fourth game on the Advance.
Okay.
Yeah, if there is one thing Japan sucks at, it's naming.
Right.
Like, I don't know
Lost
if you've ever actually gone
translation.
through and looked at the name, like the actual like Japanese names for Pokemon. It is not Squirtle. it's it's not Squirtle. It's something stupid like water turtle or some crap. And then it's
Right.
like
Well, it has a
Blastoise.
squirrel tail, right? I think so. I think it
Yeah,
is a
basically,
squirrel
it's like
tail.
all their names are like literal. It's like Pikachu is like Lightning Mouse or something
Oh,
like that.
it's
Like
funny. In Mega
it's
Man, it gets funny too, because you'll probably remember in the first Mega Man X, there's Boom Kawanger, but in Japanese, you're calling him a cockroach.
oh
Kawanger is
that like
cockroach in
sucks all the
Japanese.
power out of him.
Yes, just don't know what his name is in Japanese, but he's the guy you get the boomerang from.
That's
Uh,
funny.
so what's new on Nintendo 64? Blast Corps, Banjo-Kazooie, Dr. Mario, GoldenEye, Mario Party, Mario Party 2, Mario Golf. I missed that one somehow. Pokemon.
Probably not missing too much.
Right. Star Fox 64. I did not miss that one though. Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, Yoshi's Story, Wave Racer.
I actually just got a hold of Turok 2. There was at the place my brother and I are refurbishing. We found a little plastic bin that had I want to say it was like 15 64 games, and Turok 2 was in it. I was like, "Oh, sweet."
Well, I
The original black cartridge and all.
I hope that store runs well for you. Pilot Wings. Makes me curious. Yes, Perfect Dark. I've been playing that one using the Switch controls. It's pretty good. It's pretty well. Jet Force Gemini. I'm tempted to try that one, dual with the Switch controls as well. So,
GoldenEye.
yep.
God, is that game hard at times?
Yeah, it is. Especially when you have to like run and shoot while you go.
Oh yeah, it's absurd at times. You can make a Japanese account and attach it to the US Switch. Oh, really? The Switch is not
Oh, it's
region
not
locked and you can avoid Nintendo of America censorship. Oh, wow. No kidding.
Shadow. You're the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Shadow.
So it's the same. That's actually, if that's the case, that's a good thing for Nintendo Switch. They should keep, not having it the same regardless of region.
Mm-hmm.
What is next? So next is we're going to talk what's coming up next. Next week is whatever happened to Halo 2. So yes, I want to thank my brother for his Xbox, so I was able to record Halo 2 footage.
Oh, sweet.
And 2025 is whatever happened to the films, and that will start with Vampire Hunter D. Bloodlust.
Yeah. Oh, going right into the good one. Should say the better one. The first one's good too.
Right. And here we are at the end. I hope you all had a wonderful time as we were talking about we hope happened with the Nintendo Switch. And see you next time, same channel. Anything else you want to add?
Well, thank you as always. I'm currently rushing through trying to get my damn Joker review out.
Okay, I won't bother you too much, and I'm looking forward to the interview from you as well.
Yeah, we got to set up a time for that, and I got to figure out a couple more things to put on that bingo card.
It could work pretty easily. I think it would work easier if we did it around this similar time as this. You host it and record it, and you could edit it from there.
Yeah, sure.
All right. See you later, Shadow. And
oh, hey, Brian. Bye, Brian.
Hi, Brian. It's okay. We have some extra minutes, but Nintendo Switch 2 was leaked by Indie 100 magazine. I had the link in an earlier slide. Allegedly, it's going to release in March of 2025.
Yeah, although I did happen to catch that a couple people are thinking maybe like this same time next year, so October, November.
Maybe. I mean, I'll take what Indie 100 magazine says with a pinch of salt. But
Oh yeah, absolutely.
the pressure still is on for Nintendo, and we're going to take a look at this. We're going to take a look back at this and see what how much of what we expected came to fruition.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not too late. We covered most of what we wanted to here, what we expected from Nintendo Switch 2. But thanks for stopping by, Bran.
Yeah, sorry. You can obviously just rewatch the whole thing and hear our thoughts on it, of course. Also, just to add, I will be continuing Fallout tomorrow as well, so that's in the cards too. So hopefully I can get through that, and then after that, Order of Ecclesia.
Right. I'll be playing Curse of Darkness later today, starting at 1:30 Eastern time in Philadelphia. So.
Cool.
So thank you for everyone who visited, and we'll see you next time with whatever happened to Halo 2, and hopefully later we'll talk about whatever happened to the Halo movies. So that's our predicted part. And stay tuned with Albellia. He'll be interviewing myself and possibly others about what we expect for Castlevania Nocturne.
Yeah, because that's coming back.
Right. It's going to be a premiere though, so it'll be a little different. You could probably get it up at a time.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for coming, guys. Sorry for it cutting short here, Bran, but again, just go ahead and watch the whole thing.
All right. See you later, and good night.
Yep. Have a good day, everybody. See you tomorrow.